Hey everybody, I'm Zach.
And I'm Jesse.
And you're watching Tesla Time News.
Episode 241.
On Now You Know.
We're brought to you, as always, by our amazing Patreon patrons. We just had a live stream the other day with our Investor Club patrons about something we can't tell you about. It was very exciting, and we had a great time. So if you want to help support this show and get access to some pretty great perks, you can head over to patreon.com/nowyouknow.
This week's episode is sponsored by Charity Stars.
How would you like to win a 2021 Model Y Performance?
And a Tesla wall charger.
And 2 VanMoof electric bikes.
And $10,000 cash.
We've teamed up with Charity Stars to give you the chance to win the Tesla Model Y Performance, the wall charger, the VanMoof e-bikes, and the $10,000 cash.
So to enter, go to charitystars.com/nowyouknow.
And you know what's awesome about Charity Stars?
That you can win a Tesla Model Y Performance that goes 0 to 60 in 3.5 seconds. That's quicker than some supercars.
Yes, and this fundraiser supports 2 wonderful charities, Cure Addiction Now and Race to Erase MS.
Nancy Davis, who runs both charities, says Race to Erase MS Center Without Walls program is a collaboration of the nation's top MS research centers. The center's theme is simple: communication, doctors working together towards a mutual goal. When this goal is reached, all will share in victory. We are so grateful to be the beneficiary of the Tesla Charity Stars sweepstakes to raise money to find a cure for MS.
So if you want a chance to win all these amazing prizes
and support 2 great charities,
go to charitystars.com/nowyouknow and enter now.
That's charitystars.com/nowyouknow. And we're sponsored by BigBattery.com with the best battery prices in the USA, guaranteed. If you've got something you need to power, from homes to cars, RVs to boats, and much more, BigBattery.com has you covered, offering the newest battery tech. Use the code NOWYOUKNOW to save 5% off your purchase today at BigBattery.com. All right, so Elon tweeted this out last Wednesday when asked by F9 Block 5.
Any updates on releasing the beta button?
Major improvements are being made to the Vision Stack every week. Beta button, hopefully, next month. There is a march of nines trying to get probability of no injury above 99.9999999% of miles for city driving. Production autopilot is already above that for highway driving. Then, when Holmar's catalog said,
FSD subscription launching with FSD beta button in May.
Elon said, button timing of May is aspirational. Depends on how well limited beta of version 9.0 goes, but I would be surprised if wide beta, aka button, is later than June. Full self-driving subscription next month is a sure thing.
Okay, so there's the full self-driving button, and that is the button that invites you to the full self-driving beta.
If you've paid for it.
And
that should appear in either May or June. It sounds like now June.
And the subscription for full self-driving should be starting in May. Okay.
Right. Now, the big question I think a lot of people are asking is, will this also be signaling a price hike, as many have been talking about? Because full self-driving is now currently $10,000. Does this mean that when he announces this new subscription, will the price be going up?
So that's kind of an interesting question, because if you plot out full self-driving price, you end up with something that looks almost entirely a straight line. It has just linearly been going up in price, and the $10,000 price jump was the first time that it's really deviated from that line, and it deviated up. It went higher. So my thought is, if it were to continue linearly, that the price would remain at $10,000 maybe for a little longer, but obviously nothing in this world is going to stays on a straight, narrow line.
Or did Elon think that it would be going exponential, but he just did it too early?
Right.
And kind of got ahead of where the customers want to be. Because I think a lot of people right now are like, $10,000, that's a lot for what the car can do now.
Right.
But if you think the car can do more later, it's probably cheap.
Yeah. So that's I don't know. We're going to have to find out.
Well, I think we're going to find out at AI Day.
What's AI Day?
Well, Elon tweeted out on Wednesday, Tesla AI autopilot engineering is awesome, making excellent progress solving real-world AI. And then Melanie asked, when can we expect AI Day?
And then Elon said probably late July. Okay, wait. So we've had kind of an autopilot day before.
Yeah, we had an autonomy day where we talked about hardware. Is this going to be another, like, are we going to talk about some new hardware? Are we going to talk about new features? What's going to be revealed at AI Day?
I mean, my guess is that it's going to be software kind of stuff.
Although it's been a while, so maybe there is some new hardware coming out. I mean, who knows?
I mean, one would hope not, right? Because they've already replaced the hardware once for free, but in the future, you probably don't want to replace the computer that you replaced already with a new computer.
Actually, maybe they take the old computers out and mine for Bitcoin with them.
Oh, yeah, sure. I don't think that there's going to be a hardware update,
okay,
if I'm being honest. I mean, I think that it's going to be more AI.
Something about Dojo.
Yes.
All right, it's that time again. Every quarter, Tesla and us here on Tesla Time News report on Tesla's safety numbers in comparison with NHTSA's safety numbers. So this is a way that we get to see how Tesla is doing stacked against the average American in an average car. So what do we have?
Well, as Elon tweeted out on Saturday, Tesla with autopilot engaged is now approaching 10 times lower chance of accident than average vehicle.
Okay, that's awesome, but can you show us the data in like a chart so we can see what's happening over time?
Yes, and here it is. So green at the bottom is NHTSA's traffic safety data. That's the average American driver, and in Q1, they got into an accident for every 484,000 miles of driving. So then the next line up in yellow are Teslas that are being driven without any active safety features and without autopilot.
Okay.
You can see that there are approximately half the accidents because they can travel for about 1 million miles without getting into an accident. Now that's kind of interesting because there aren't too many Tesla drivers that like go into the settings and disable the safety features because you actually have to opt out of them. In red above that are Teslas that are driven with only active safety features but not autopilot.
Okay.
And they get into approximately a quarter of the accidents as the average driver.
Okay.
And then in blue above that are Teslas driven with active safety features and autopilot on.
Okay.
And as Elon said, it's almost 10 times less likely to get into an accident as the average car on the road.
Now, it's interesting to note that the yellow line, or Teslas driven without active safety features, or AP, have seen a dip these last couple quarters. In other words, they appear to be getting into more accidents than before. So what might be causing that?
So I have a couple theories on that. So I've put some bars in the background. Those are the Tesla fleet numbers. So
Okay.
how many Teslas are on the road. And pretty much all those cars that have joined the fleet since the beginning of the chart have had Sentry Cam. Whereas the cars before, like Sparky and other cars before, around 2018, don't have any kind of Sentry Cam or Tesla Cam.
Oh, I get it. So with all these Teslas joining the fleet with SentryCam, they are now recording like more incidents and accidents that may have gone unreported before.
Right. Now, I'm not sure if NHTSA counts accidents involving like parked cars. I kind of have to imagine that they would. We've heard of so many cases where an offender will hit someone's car and then drive away. They catch them on Tesla SentryCam, and therefore they're able to report it to their insurance company. Mm-hmm. If you don't have any kind of camera catching the incident, then when you go to your insurance company, they're going to go, okay, where's the deductible? It's not worth, I don't want to pay this deductible for this small ding on my car. I guess I'll just live with it. Now, you could make the argument that as these cars become less expensive, that more people are driving Teslas. Now, I'm not saying that rich drivers drive better than less rich drivers, but maybe these new drivers are younger and less experienced. That's another possibility. Another possibility could be that it just so happened that people who were interested in Tesla early on were good drivers.
It could also be that, these 2 quarters are snowy times of the year. We do see kind of dips during the winter months, so it could be that as well. We're going to need some more data, but let us know what you think in the comments below.
It could be Texas. It could be that a huge swath of the United States got more snow, and that could have led to more accidents even with safety features.
Speaking of Texas, the Cybertruck was at Giga-Texas.
So Giga-Texas is supposed to be building Cybertrucks. Did they build this Cybertruck?
I don't think so. A couple reasons why I don't think so. One is, if you look closely at some of these pictures you're seeing here, there's a lot of details that aren't really what you're going to see in the final truck. For instance, those stripes that you see in the bed of the truck, those are just, they look like that's just like plastic put on there. Eventually, those are going to be some kind of T slot or L slot. Also, if you look very closely, a lot of people were saying, this is Cybertruck without handles. But if you look closely, there are handles. Yeah. So, since Elon said there won't be handles, I don't think this is that truck. I think this is the truck we probably rode in. And the cool thing is, this is the first time we're seeing the truck with dirty tires.
Yeah. And in daylight, really. We've seen some shots of it in daylight, but they were like taken from a cell phone in a car. These are taken from a cell phone standing in front of the thing. I think it looks pretty good. I know that a lot of people disagree. They can't reconcile that design with their minds, but you can hit it with a sledgehammer, and I think that does a lot to sway my opinion.
I think the other reason they probably brought it here is my guess would be that when Elon's going to announce the new design of the Cybertruck, they're going to need a backdrop. I'm assuming they're going to shoot it at Giga-Texas. They're probably going to use this Cybertruck as either the stand-in, or maybe it's going to be what's on stage behind him as he talks about the new features that are coming. And so they drove it down there to get ready for this event, which is a good sign, right? Because that means it's coming sooner than we think.
Right.
And as he tweeted out, Austin rocks.
And either way, I think it's a great way to rally the troops of the people who are working feverishly on Giga-Texas. I mean, the progress on that factory are astounding.
Yeah, if I was Tesla and I was trying to get things to go into hyperdrive, I would just say, like, whatever team gets it done first is going to get a Cybertruck. Hey, and if you'd like to share this clip with your friends, but you don't want to share the whole show, we've got a clips channel. Head on over there, and we've chopped up clips into bite-sized pieces so you can share them with your family and friends easier. And Tesla Time News is sponsored by Cybertruck Owners Club. There you'll find a crowdsourced reservation tracker that you can update and find your place in line.
Check out their website for Cybertruck news, discussions, and community for Cybertruck enthusiasts and future owners. I mean, I was able to find some pictures that I didn't see anywhere else on the internet of the Cybertruck on Cybertruck Owners Club.
Yeah, because these guys dig deep.
Yes.
So GM and LG Energy Solutions have announced a new partnership to build a $2.3 billion battery cell manufacturing plant in Spring Hill, Tennessee. This will be a 2.8 million square foot facility that will start being built soon, and production should be starting in late 2023.
Now, if this report seems kind of familiar, that's because it's the second battery factory that LG and GM are partnering on. The first one is in Lordstown, Ohio.
So I think the takeaway here is that GM has basically rebranded LG's technology as GM's Ultium battery. And this is something that GM is good at because essentially, this is what GM's been doing for decades. They take third-party supplier parts, they put them together to build their vehicles, and there's nothing wrong with that, except that when you're looking to value a company and how fast they're going to be able to innovate and keep up with Tesla, if they aren't vertically integrated, then they're going to rely on their partner companies to solve problems. And in this case, they're relying on LG to come up with a better battery. And so you can call it Ultium all you want. It's just an LG battery.
Yeah, and you might be saying, well, it's good that GM and LG are working together. But if GM starts to slip, LG isn't going to save them. They're just going to jump onto the next customer. Oh, Lucid, you want our batteries? Sure, we'll give you some batteries. Oh, Rivian, you want some batteries? Sure, we'll give you some batteries. Oh, Tesla, you want some more batteries because you're expanding so fast? Sure. You know, we have this facility that we just built down in Spring Hill, Tennessee. Do you guys want to use that? Because, GM, backed out of the deal on that. So what do you think, Tesla?
I also love how this is changing politics in America, because as you build up more and more factories that are built on sustainable, renewable energy platforms like batteries, then you got workers who vote, and those politicians can't ignore them. And so no longer is it the fossil fuel industry, it's now the renewable energy industry that those politicians are beholden to. All right, so Mercedes has finally unveiled the EQS all-electric luxury saloon. We get to see the exterior, the interior, and some of the specs. So you can either get it as a 90 kilowatt hour or 107.8 kilowatt hour battery with over 400 miles of range, 200 kilowatts of charging capacity, and 385 kilowatts of power.
All right, but this is the model with the big 55-inch screen.
But hang on. That screen has 3 distinct rectangles. Take a look at it here. It's just that it's one piece of glass. And I don't think I would call that a 55-inch screen. All right, so if you were to take my phone and take your phone and put it up there and hold it right there, would you call this like a 40-inch screen?
No.
I mean, because that's essentially what it is. You got to.
But wait. What if you held it like this? Oh, ooh, wait a minute.
What are you talking
Look at this screen. Holy, it can almost fit the whole show on it.
That's not how screens work.
Whoa. Huh?
That's not.
But that's a 55-inch screen. Mercedes-Benz wouldn't lie to me and say that was a 55-inch screen. And unless it was a 55-inch screen, you know what I think it is? The whole thing's a screen, and they just... to keep you calmer, they don't turn on all those other pixels.
Oh, that's what you think.
They're there, but they're not going to turn them on because it would be too much for you.
I see. So you think they're Ultium black or something?
Because they have the OLED. These are like BLED. These are black LEDs.
Gotcha.
It's to really show how defined the edges of the not screen, the user interface portals.
Great. You keep believing that. And I like your user interface portal idea.
Yeah. Okay, so what's the price on this amazing car with that amazing 55-inch screen?
Well, Mercedes hasn't released the price yet, but word on the street is that it will start at over $100,000. And that would be for the base model. So that would be for the 329 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, so one motor, EQS 450 Plus model. That would do 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. Now, if you want to get a faster time, you'd go up to the 4.3 second dual motor 580 4MATIC. And that we don't know what it would cost again, but that would be a lot more.
Okay, a couple things.
Yeah.
First of all, 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. That's slower than my entry-level Model 3. And it costs...
I think your Leaf could probably beat it.
No, Leaf is 11 seconds.
Okay.
6.2, I mean, I'm pretty sure my car is around 5.5. So...
But you're getting this for luxury, though, you know?
Oh, it's not about...
It's not about speed. It's a saloon. It's a luxury saloon.
Okay. And then the other question is, so the higher end one, the dual motor 580 4MATIC, what's the 4MATIC? Because I could understand back in the day, the 4MATIC meant
I wondered that myself.
Automatic.
Yeah. I think they just keep using it because it's a branding thing. There's no Matic anymore. But to your point about competition with Tesla, if you compare this to the refreshed Model S all-wheel drive, that has 412 miles of range, 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds, and costs at a starting price of $79,990. That's cheaper, faster, and I think the same range as this Tesla killer that the media has been announcing.
Yeah, but what's the size of the screen?
17 inches.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You got to get the 55-inch screen. How do they even fit it in there?
I don't know.
Amazing. Now, you said that it had over 400 miles of range, but I read that the EQS was going to have a 478-mile range.
Yeah, I saw that too, but that's 478 miles of the WLTP standard.
So is the WLTP standard like getting more inaccurate by the day?
No, it's just that as battery sizes are getting bigger and therefore ranges are increasing, it makes the actual range get more and more out of whack with reality because the WLTP standard was never accurate to start with. But if you started with, say, 70 miles of range in like an i3, and then you were 20% off, you had a difference of 14 miles. But at 400 miles of range, you can be off by like 80 miles.
Wow. So, I mean, that's why it's important to EPA is pretty much as close as you can get to a real world range.
Right. They drive it in city and highway driving 50-50, and that's probably what the average driver is going to do.
Right. And there are no NHTSA or IIHS safety test results yet either.
Yeah, and this is why I wouldn't get that excited about buying such an expensive car that you're going to put yourself and your loved ones in until you know that it's as safe or safer than a Tesla. So when you talk about making me drool inverse, I'm talking to you, I drool over things like safety ratings and efficiency, not just luxury interiors.
So this should be coming to the US in the fall with the EQS 450 Plus first, and then it'll be followed by the more powerful and expensive 580 4MATIC at a later date that hasn't been announced yet.
All right, so we got some drone footage here from our buddy Gabe and Cal's YouTube channel that shows the Tesla Semi and what appears to be the refreshed Model X. Now, you may be saying, how can you tell that that's the refreshed Model X?
Well, if you look very closely at the front of this Model X, there's a little section. It's under the headlight, down towards the bottom of the car, and on, say, Sparky, an older Model X, you'd have like 2 or 3 silver things going across, and you'd have the turn signal. What they've done now is it just is the turn signal, and there's no little silver things because they blacked out the car, so why have those things?
Gotcha.
That's the way you can tell. You got to be really good at zooming in your eyeballs to being like, oh, okay.
Now, the refreshed Model X was supposed to be in production by now, but it appears that there's been a slight delay, and this is probably part of the testing and validation before the deliveries begin.
Right. And I think that a lot of people are excited about it. No one has seen a Model X refresh, and I think that it could sell pretty well because I think that a lot of people were waiting for Model X's that were refreshed.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be too surprised if the sales numbers of the Model X go way up. Now, something that not a lot of people are thinking about, in fact, I didn't even think about it until our buddy Pete mentioned it to me. The Model 3 has track mode, and it's very popular with car enthusiasts. I mean, you only get it on the performance model, but the Model S should be a faster car, at least in a straight line. And, before you could argue that, the Model 3 and Y were newer and that there was some refresh coming with the Model S, but we didn't know what it was. Now that we have the refreshed Model S and X, Are we going to see track mode?
And would we see track mode in the Model X? Because it's not really what you think of as a track mode-y kind of car.
Right.
Just does Model Y have track mode?
Model Y also has track mode.
Oh, right. So, okay, so then Model X should have it.
I think so.
I mean, of course. If you're going to pay a lot for a car, you're going to,
I mean, it's going to be able to accelerate faster than some supercars.
Yeah.
Seat 7.
Right.
And I think that it should be able to have track mode. I mean, it should be the do everything vehicle. It's Tesla's most expensive vehicle that they sell at the moment until we get to the Roadster.
Right.
It should have track mode.
Yeah.
And hey, if you think that the refreshed Model S should have track mode, hit the like button.
That's what's going to make them hit the like button?
If Elon's watching, Elon, if you're watching, just scroll down, look at the likes. That's how many people want track mode for the Model S. Simple as that. I was trying to think of like, we could arrange some kind of poll. It's like, no, it's right there.
I hope a lot of people want it.
Yeah. So next up is a story about a Tesla over-the-air update.
Oh, yeah. An over-the-air software update. Is this the FSD button?
No, I didn't say software. I just said over-the-air update.
Huh?
Some Model 3 owners in Germany have been receiving these service announcements about a potential defect in certain Model 3s with VIN numbers between about 910,000 and 917,000 related to the seals that can result in water getting into the cabin.
Oh, I see. That's so smart. So instead of sending out emails or postcards, you can immediately notify owners that they can schedule to have Tesla fix the problem.
Exactly. This is a non-safety recall, so Tesla can communicate with owners however they choose. If this were a safety recall, Tesla would have to go through approved channels, although I think we should make this a channel.
I know, right? I mean, that way the owner's definitely going to see it. In the future, when cars drive themselves, though, Teslas will just drive themselves to the service center while you're at work or sleeping. All right, we talk about this all the time. Rivian seems to be taking the plays almost verbatim from Tesla's playbook.
All right, so what play is it this time?
Well, you know how Tesla rolled out Tesla Insurance in August of 2019 so that Tesla owners in California can insure their cars? Mm-hmm. Well, on Friday, I got this email from Rivian. Designed using our connected vehicle platform and suite of safety features, Rivian Insurance covers your vehicle and accessories even when you go off-road. You can also bundle your home, recreational equipment, and other vehicles. Initially available in 40 states, we're working to bring Rivian Insurance to every market where our vehicles are available. Rivian Insurance is integrated into our digital ordering process, so you can get a quote in minutes through one simple, convenient experience. Rivian Insurance integrates with our connected vehicle platform and suite of safety features to bring you tailored, data-driven coverage. We want you to feel comfortable using the full capabilities of your Rivian and designed Rivian Insurance to cover your R1 even when you go off-road. Our vehicle coverage also includes your Rivian accessories like the camp kitchen and rooftop tent. We understand our vehicle and our technology and our repair costs better than anyone. This allows us to quickly and comprehensively diagnose issues, many times even remotely, as well as identify solutions faster. This efficiency not only helps get your vehicle back to you more quickly, it helps us offer lower premiums. With Rivian collision centers and service centers performing the work, we can ensure high-quality repairs. By working as one team with Rivian Service and Parts, we're confident your experience using Rivian Insurance will be transparent and less stressful, allowing you to get back to enjoying your vehicle faster. Every Rivian vehicle is equipped with our Driver Plus suite of safety technology. In addition to helping protect you and your loved ones, having these features also lowers your insurance premium. When you select Rivian Insurance, you automatically receive our Driver Plus rate reduction. For more savings, we offer an additional program that rewards you for using active driving assistance, our Driver Plus feature that automatically steers and adjusts your speed on the highway. When you opt in on this program, the more often you engage active driving assistance, the lower your insurance rates when you renew.
Whoa, okay, so that's a long email, but it has a lot of stuff in it. So let me just go to the first thing that kind of stuck out to me, the off-road stuff.
Yeah, so there's off-road and accessories, which are both covered by Rivian Insurance.
Now, this is where I think that Rivian is kind of out-appling Tesla.
Yeah.
By having specific things. So it kind of, to me, sounds like that rooftop tent that we talked about last week is going to be like a buy-through Rivian kind of deal, meaning that it's like Rivian approved and recommended.
Right. And insured now.
And insured now.
Right. So like when the bear rips it apart, you're like, oh, Rivian will cover that.
Right. That's smart, but it also keeps you from going to some cheaper option, and it keeps Rivian in the loop.
Right.
So very similar to Apple products where it's like, oh, you want to plug in anything? Well, you need our special stupid dongle. This is a lot better, I would argue, than Apple's model, but it does keep you going with like, Oh, I think I'll get the Rivian camp stove because I can have it covered by my insurance.
Next is, just like Apple, is bundling your home and car. Now this is one-upping Tesla, I think, because, Tesla offers it for your car. They're saying like, hey, throw in your house while you're at it too.
And probably throw in your other cars.
Right. And here's where they one-upped Tesla again. Tesla Insurance is now currently offered in California, but they're saying, Rivian, that they're going to start in 40 states and then go up from there. What I also love is that quote in minutes. I mean, who doesn't love getting a quote fast from insurance? Because normally that's kind of a pain point.
Yep.
The remotely diagnosing and quicker turning around your car, that's awesome. The Rivian collision centers, that's awesome. And then the driver plus rate reduction. I want to talk about that for a second.
Yes.
We know that Tesla uses your data to help get you a lower quote, but here they're explicitly saying it. The more you drive on driver plus driving assistance features, the cheaper your premium will be.
Right. Now, I do wonder about that. So if we go to Tesla's graph that we showed earlier in the show, it shows that autopilot is the safest way to drive a car, period.
Right.
If you're an average American, which no one is, but I just want to make that perfectly clear.
Someone is.
If you like bought a new car and you got into an accident, you look down at your odometer, it's like 484,000 miles, like then you're the average American driver. Right. But most people, it's not that case. I'm just curious as to, when you're in that mode, you're less likely to get into an accident, but maybe if you're a bad driver, you're going to put it into that mode more frequently. And then when you take it out is when you're definitely going to get into that accident. So, I mean, I'm not a statistician and I haven't thought about this for more than 8 seconds. So that might not be true, but I don't know.
Don't use that on your interview with Rivian Insurance.
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not going to.
Well, to answer your question after about 8 seconds, I think you're wrong.
And we've never seen Rivian's autopilot technology.
Well, we're seeing it now. I mean, this is the first time I think we've seen video of it at all. This is pretty cool. And the other thing we're hearing about now is that Rivian is going to be using Samsung SDI batteries in their battery packs. That's the first we've known of where those batteries come from.
So does this matter at all or not?
No,
for some people it does.
Yeah, it just answers a question we were always wondering, like, are they secretly making their own batteries? Right. Who are they buying them from? So now we know where they're coming from. So NIO announced last week that they are partnering with Sinopec, or the China Petroleum and Chemical Corporation. That doesn't roll off the tongue as well. But they're going to be installing battery swap stations at Sinopec stations across China. Sinopec currently owns and operates 30,000 stations in China.
So NIO's going to have 30,000 battery swap locations?
Oh, no. Sorry. NIO currently has 198 battery swap locations, and they plan on that number increasing to 500 by the end of this year under this new partnership.
So these will be new battery swap 2.0 locations, and they will be capable of 312 battery swaps per day.
Yep.
That gives you a kind of an idea of the rate at which they can do battery swaps.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we're probably looking at about 5-minute battery swaps.
If it's a 24-hour a day, I think they're probably only open 12 hours a day because, I mean, unless they're manned through 3 a.m. in the morning.
Okay, so then it's 2.5-minute battery swaps?
That's possible. I mean, they did advertise that it's a 5-minute swap for the first version, so I'm assuming they've sped it up.
Or that they just give us the best number they could.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah. All right, so we reviewed the Ford Mach-E a couple of weeks ago. You can check out that video here. And we used their version of Autopilot called Copilot 360.
Well, now Ford has announced that it is releasing BlueCruise as an over-the-air software update to Mach-E owners later this year.
What's BlueCruise?
Well, Ford says BlueCruise is an SAE Level 2 driver assist technology, similar to Tesla Autopilot, but with the advantage of offering a true hands-free driving experience while in hands-free mode that does not require a driver's hands to stay in contact with the steering wheel unless prompted by vehicle alert. And unlike other approaches, such as GM's Supercruise, which uses red and green lighting, or Tesla's Autopilot, which requires a driver to keep their hands on the steering wheel, BlueCruise communicates with drivers in different ways. The instrument cluster transitions to communicate that the feature is in hands-free mode through text and blue lighting cues, effective even for those with color blindness.
All right, so they're basically doubling down on that visual communication with the driver through the binnacle like we saw with Copilot 360, and I think that's going to prove to be dangerous for the reasons that we described in the video.
Yeah, it's also important to note that unlike Tesla's Autopilot, BlueCruise will allow for hands-free driving on pre-qualified sections of divided highways called hands-free blue zone.
So a limited map, basically.
Yeah, for the hands-free sections. Right. I mean, maybe there's other sections where it will require the steering wheel, but then it's like, why those sections requires the steering wheel if the looking at your face isn't good enough.
I'm guessing it's sections where things are pretty straight and simple.
So.
Now, how does BlueCruise know that the driver is paying attention?
So it's with those infrared lights and the camera that's at that little piece above the steering wheel and below the binnacle that is constantly looking at the driver's face.
Wait a minute. So Ford has a camera looking at the driver. Mm-hmm. Why isn't everyone getting upset about privacy like they are about Tesla's cabin-facing camera?
I think it's because it's infrared, and people think that if it's infrared, they can't see your face, even though that's the whole point of the technology. Also, I would like to point out, it's a 3D image of your face.
Wait, whoa, what?
So they have one camera, and you might be saying, how do you get a 3D image with one camera? They have two banks of infrared LEDs on either side kind of your face. So, and they flash like blink, 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 blink.
I was wondering why they
blink,
do that,
blink.
yeah.
So by offsetting the blinks, you're getting like a different look of the face, and that can build a 3D profile of like, am I looking over here or am I looking over there? Or do I just have a weirdly shaped face that makes it look like I always look like this?
Wait, what about my eyes, though? Like, does it see my eyeballs?
Yeah, it'll see your eyeballs.
Okay.
So
wait a minute. This is a lot like the Xbox Kinect then, where it builds kind of this 3D image of you so it knows what you're doing.
It's similar to the Xbox Kinect. The Xbox Kinect also sent out like lasers or something. This is slightly different, but I think part of that technology also used flashing infrared lights. So, I mean, yeah, I don't understand why people aren't up in arms about this. I mean, maybe you're saying like, oh, it's only seeing the driver. It's not seeing what's going on in the back seat because I care so much about what's going on in the back seat. Why do you care so much what's going on in the back seat?
It's also interesting to note that Ford is charging $3,200 for BlueCruise. So now we're starting to see what the prices are for, each of these different autopilot systems.
And important to keep in mind that Tesla Autopilot comes standard.
So Colorado-based Lightning eMotors announced last week that they're partnering with REV Group's Leader Emergency Vehicles to develop electric ambulances.
The chassis will be electrified at Lightning's facility in Loveland, Colorado, and then assembled at Leader's factory in South El Monte, California.
The CEO of Lightning eMotors, Tim Reeser, said, electrification is reaching all different types of fleet vehicles, and ambulances are a logical next step. These zero-emission vehicles are powerful, smooth, and quiet, and drivers will love them. As a fully electric model, they have no tailpipe emissions, so it's a healthier choice for the air you breathe as well.
The new ambulance will offer up to 105 kilowatt-hour battery packs, which can charge at level 2 or DC fast charging. There aren't any other specs, but they plan to be delivering by the end of this year.
Nice. Electric ambulances.
And similar to ambulances, school buses.
Yeah, California-based Amply Power, which is a fleet charging infrastructure provider, and Unique Electric Solutions, or UES, which converts school buses and trucks to electric powertrains, have announced a partnership to convert the largest school bus provider for New York City, Logan Bus Company, to electric school buses.
Yes, I love electric school buses.
And not only will they be ripping out the diesel engines and the gas tanks to be replaced with clean, efficient electric motors and batteries, but also these buses will be made vehicle-to-grid or V2G capable using technology from Rhombus Energy.
Yes. V2G in school buses makes so much sense.
Yes, this partnership between Amply, UES, and Rhombus seems really cool. You take players in the charging, the powertrain, and the V2G worlds, you combine their strengths, and you have a really cool solution for fleet companies like Logan Bus that have a huge number of existing diesel buses or trucks, but don't want to have to buy new ones. You just convert the old ones and you save. Corey Muirhead, the executive vice president of Logan Bus, said V2G provides much needed cost savings to the contractor while simultaneously allowing us to provide power back to the grid, thus reducing brownouts and helping our communities during emergency events.
This is so exciting. I mean, exactly what he said there. Emergency events. This would have been very helpful for some places down in Texas when you have a complete grid down problem. Take the bus, bring it to somewhere like, I don't know, a school, hook them up, power the school, and then you can have the school be an emergency shelter for people.
Yeah, now don't get too excited because this is not Logan's entire fleet. It's only 5 buses to start. But as these fleet operators start to see the savings, you can be pretty sure they're going to want to continue expanding their electric fleets.
And I think an important thing for them to do is to kind of like have a day where they power the whole event with the buses.
Yes.
I think that would really seal the deal for a lot of people to be like, oh, and by the way, everything here, all these tents and stuff is drawing, X amount of kilowatts and could run for X number of days or something like that. And that could provide, X number of people with shelter in the case of an emergency. And then if you're, in town government or something, your ears perk up and you go, what? Yeah. Oh, that is a good thing that I can tell my constituents about and would be very helpful in the case of an emergency.
Yeah, to your point, I would love to have a school or a town building where the town officials go into the building and they're like, see how the lights are on? Actually, we're off grid right now. That bus out there is providing all the power. And then people would start to get it.
You could go to the nth degree and have someone cut down a tree and take down the power line. You're like, oh no, we've lost power. Now we'll hook up the buses. Also, V2G to balance the grid means that now a town would own a battery reserve.
Yep.
That they could have online whenever the kids weren't being dropped off or picked up at school.
Right.
Which means that now they could more easily transition to becoming a municipal grid.
Exactly. All right. Do you have the right to charge?
What are you talking about? Do I have the right to charge my EV? Of course I do. This is America. I have the right to charge my EV wherever I want.
Not if you live in a condominium in these 41 states in America.
Oh, right. I mean, we get this message all the time from people who live in condos, and it's all up to the condo or homeowners association to decide if they want to allow condo owners to install EV charging at designated parking spaces.
Yeah. The good news is that now Maryland is one of 9 states, those orange ones there, that have passed right-to-charge laws. The Maryland bill is now on Maryland Governor Larry Hogan's desk awaiting his signature. Hint, hint, Maryland voters, you should give him a call.
So these laws give condo owners the right to install EV chargers at their own expense as long as they agree to pay for the electricity and maintenance and agree to remove it when they move.
And honestly, who's going to make them remove it when they move? Because they just put in something super valuable to the condo association. I think a lot of people, when they, are thinking about this, are like, well, you'll have to take that out, Bob, when you leave, because nobody here wants it.
As if it was like some kind of, arcing electric. You're like, oh, no. It's still a parking space.
Right.
It's not like all EVs have a pole that they drive onto. So every parking space for EVs needs a giant pole in the middle that they can drive their car around.
Right.
That isn't the case. It's still a parking space. It's just a parking space with EV charging, which is super valuable.
And guess what's going to happen with all of these condo associations? They're all going to want to put in EV charging because more and more of their owners and prospective buyers are going to want them, which increases the value of their properties.
Right. I mean, we just saw Tesla's last quarter deliveries and they were huge.
Right.
That's going to continue, and more companies keep coming out with more EVs. And I know that if people haven't heard of EVs, they're just like, what is it? Some kind of, where do you put the gas in it? I don't understand. I get that. I know that you are going to have to beat this into their head with a concrete brick, but I think it's something that needs to happen. And if you have the right to charge, you have the right to charge.
Well, and now that 9 states have done it, it's going to be so much easier for those of you in states that are white right now to say, hey, look, this is a thing. It's coming. Let's just do it.
We're in one of those white states.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I know.
That's
Gotta change
ridiculous. Let's change it.
Get on the phone. Get on the emails.
So a couple weeks ago, we covered the 10-year import ban issued to the South Korean battery supplier SK Innovations by the U.S. International Trade Commission, or ITC.
Yeah, this was in response to a legal dispute between LG Chem and SK. LG alleged that SK had hired over 70 former employees to steal trade secrets.
Now the lawsuit has been settled. SK agreed to pay $1.8 billion in cash and royalty to LG in the settlement, and both South Korean-based companies agreed not to sue each other for the next 10 years.
What? I've never heard that before.
I've never heard of that either. This effectively drops the ITC's ruling against SK, permitting them to operate in the U.S. once again. Interestingly, the settlement came hours before the deadline, where President Biden would have had to decide whether to overturn the ITC's ruling or let it stand. Now, keep in mind his commitments to EVs.
Right. If they hadn't settled, then maybe SK wouldn't have been allowed to sell batteries anymore in the U.S., and so that would have meant less EVs could be made.
Right. So Biden might have thought about having to overturn the ITC's thing. Obviously, he doesn't want to do that because he's overriding his government's power.
Right.
So I think that that's kind of interesting. I feel like we don't get the whole truth here.
Well, the other piece of this truth, though, is that SK is considering building a battery factory near Commerce, Georgia, and SK Georgia facilities are estimated to provide 2,600 jobs in the area. Remember Georgia? important state. I feel like there's some interesting politics at play here, where probably a lot of things we're not even thinking about were at play.
Right. Overall, though, I think that this is pretty good. You know, we have another battery
Not for the lawyers. I mean, 10 years of no lawsuits between the two companies. They're just like, damn, who are we going to sue now?
How does that work? I mean, what if SK just goes right back to stealing trade secrets again and
they can't sue?
LG's just like...
Yeah, maybe the spies at each company are like, yes.
How does that work? Must be a South Korean thing. Or maybe it's way more common. I don't know. Put it, if you know, put it in the comments.
They're not going to put it in the comments. If they're a spy, they're not going to give away their secrets.
Spy, if you're, person who knows this sort of stuff, just put it in the comments.
All right, so the Thwaites Glacier, or the Doomsday Glacier, as it's become known, is a huge 119,000 square mile ice shelf that climate scientists have been watching carefully for decades.
So why Doomsday?
Well, because just this one glacier melting could cause seas to rise 1 to 2 feet over the next 50 to 100 years. So we've known this glacier is melting, but we haven't been able to know for sure what's going on beneath the glacier, apart from a 2,000-foot hole that 100 scientists drilled in it last year. And if we don't know what's going on underneath the glacier, then we can't predict how fast it will melt and how fast all that ice will contribute to sea level rise. Well, now with the help of an electric submarine named RAN, scientists were able to take water temperature and salinity levels below the glacier.
Okay, and what did they find?
It's not good. It's actually melting way faster than they thought. So this is kind of like one of those good news, like we're using an electric submarine. Bad news, it brought us some bad news.
2 feet of sea level rise over the next 50 to 100 years. Well, it could be worse, folks.
I mean, I could see people being like, damn electric vehicles always bring this bad news. Yeah, so I mean, it's good that we're figuring it out, but it's bad that, yes, there's basically... We kind of thought it was attached to the seafloor, and now we're seeing that basically there's huge sections where it's just water's flowing underneath it, and it's melting really fast.
So I think it's important that we kind of refocus ourselves on climate change. I think everyone got a little bit distracted over the last year, couple years, maybe
4 years,
maybe 4-ish sort of years, where it just became a smaller issue because other things were happening. I think it's time to take a step back, do a bit of a refocus, and let's just squarely approach climate change as the biggest thing that we need to address.
Yeah. Well, our buddy Eli is here again for the Starman Report.
So this week, Blue Origin both launched and landed their New Shepard rocket. This was a big milestone for Blue Origin. This is their 15th successful launch of their New Shepard rocket. Although there were no astronauts on board the flight, they did do an astronaut loading prep, which means that they loaded crew members into the capsule. They had everything as if it was ready to go. And then about 10 minutes before flight, they pulled out the humans and replaced them in mannequins so they could complete a test of the capsule. Although the New Shepard is suborbital, it reached an altitude of 348,000 feet. This is well above the internationally recognized standard of what is the boundary to space. The New Shepard capsule spends as much as 10 minutes in zero gravity before returning to Earth, and it's equipped with massive windows to give its passengers a really great view of space. In this test launch, Blue Origin completed a flawless landing of the booster, as well as this parachute landing of its capsule. This test was in preparation for the first crewed flight of New Shepard, which is expected to happen sometime later this year. Private spaceflight is really heating up, and while SpaceX is absolutely leading the way in orbital flight, and before long interplanetary, there is an entire suborbital market that other providers are looking to serve. So SpaceX is preparing for its next Crew Dragon mission, which is scheduled for April 22nd, to send 4 more NASA astronauts up to the ISS. The launch event is at 6:11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, with weather and mechanical hardware allowing. This is one of those launches that I kind of hope it gets delayed, so I don't have to be up at 3 a.m. to catch it on the West Coast. And if you watch rocket launches, you may notice there's a difference. When SpaceX are trying to put satellites into orbit of their own, they have a pretty good launch window that they can fly during. With NASA launches, that isn't the case. It is a go, no go. So SpaceX either goes at the very second that they're approved for launch. If they don't, it's a scrub. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this segment of the Starman Report, and back to you, Zach and Jesse.
Thank you so much, Eli, for covering all that fun space news.
And please check out Eli's channel, the Starman Report, for more great space news. And I just saw that there is an Adventures of Starman video. So you're going to have to go check that out because I love Starman comics, but now with the video, that's too cool.
And you can buy that comic book over at starmangifts.com. Link in the show notes below.
Now, speaking of space news, you saw that Blue Origin footage, right? Look what was spotted on Blue Origin's footage of the capsule recovery.
Oh, the space capsule.
Yeah, it's the space capsule recovery. Of course, you're going to see that.
Okay. What? I mean, weren't they looking for it?
Yeah, they found it. I'm talking about, look at the scene. What do you see there?
Sand.
Yeah, and?
I don't see anything other than a bunch of pickup trucks.
Exactly.
So what's the big deal?
Look more closely. Those aren't just any old pickup trucks. Those are Rivian electric R1Ts.
Wait, no, that's a Ford.
No, look over in the right corner.
Oh! Whoa, why do they have Rivians there? And they have numbers on the roof, 9 and 10.
Yeah, does this imply that Blue Origin has a fleet of Rivians?
I mean, this makes sense. Jeff Bezos' Amazon invested hundreds of millions of dollars in Rivian. Bezos owns Blue Origin.
Fun fact, Bezos started Blue Origin in the year 2000, 2 years before SpaceX, and Bezos at the time was worth about $6 billion versus Elon, who was worth about $180 million. Look how far they've come.
SpaceX has launched 10 rockets into orbit this year, and Blue Origin has launched 2 test suborbital flights. Look how far they've come.
And speaking of how far they've come, they were in a little bit of a competition this week between Blue Origin and SpaceX. On Friday, Elon tweeted, "Everything to the moon."
Is everything some kind of new crypto coin? I got to call my broker.
No. It's not a crypto coin. That's because SpaceX just got awarded the NASA Artemis moon contract. It's been announced that it could happen as soon as 2024.
That's awesome. That'll be the first manned moon landing since 1972 and the first woman-manned moon landing ever.
Yeah, in your lifetime. Yeah. And SpaceX won out over Jeff, I think suborbital flight is nifty, Bezos' Blue Origin and Dynetics. This is a $2.9 billion contract. Way to go, SpaceX.
Congratulations, SpaceX. They're going to use the Starship.
Yes.
The Starship.
This is so exciting.
I mean, good for you, NASA. Thank you for choosing the right company, obviously.
Yes.
I don't know what took you so long, but I'm glad that we've all decided SpaceX is the right horse to bet on here.
Yes. All right, it's time for Going Green, brought to you by EcoWear. And we're wearing some new EcoWear shirts today.
Yes. You
You went to MIT?
Well, I think I'm going to send my children there to the Mars Institute of Technology.
Nice.
That's if their space grades are good enough. And we still have our summer sale going on.
That's right. 15% off all of our bathing suits, tank tops, towels, shorts, flip-flops, everything to do with summer. And we carbon offset the manufacturing, the shipping, and life cycle of your purchase. And we plant a tree for every order.
Actually, we don't plant a tree for every order anymore.
Yes, we do.
We plant 5 trees for every order now.
That's right.
Woo!
Yeah.
So, yeah, and we help Kappa well for every order, too. We are trying to do the most good that we can while also making you look fly. And it helps support Now You Know.
That's right. All right, so the Washington State Senate and House have passed the Clean Cars 2030 bill, which requires all light-duty vehicles in Washington State to be electric by 2030. Senator Marco Elias said, Clean Cars 2030 is a critical step to meet urgent carbon reduction goals here in Washington and can serve as a model and impetus for the other states to accelerate and switch to EVs.
The bill is now on Governor Jay Inslee's desk, but he is expected to sign it, and he is one of the most environmentally friendly governors in the United States. And I just want to point out, this is even earlier than California or Massachusetts, which have 2035 goals for banning gas cars.
I think states should get into a war now where they keep moving the date up. Let's make it 2028. Let's make it 2025.
It's just a goal. I mean, let's set the goal as soon as possible because guess what's going to happen if you set the goal? I mean, so many people have been telling me recently, like, I learned this thing on TikTok. I manifest something and it happens. Do you know why that works?
Yes.
It's because if you put it out into the universe and you're very forceful about it, it means that at every twist and turn, you're going to be finding ways to get closer to that goal.
Exactly. Whereas if you say 2050, you're like, oh, well, I don't even care about that date.
And you might be saying, well, I don't understand what the governments are going to be doing if they have the closer goal. It's not the governments. It's the car companies and the oil companies. The better the goals you can make, and you know that you're going to have to hit them, the car companies will acquiesce. They will make plans because guess what? They've already made plans. And if we just keep pushing them, they will change faster.
All right, it's time for Into the Future.
Escape into the future.
Hey, Brits.
What's your name again?
Brit.
Grit.
How'd you like to charge your EV for free? Got your attention? Clean power company Good Energy and ZapMap are partnering to offer a cool service that will allow the almost 500,000 of you EV owners in the UK to charge for free and help the grid at the same time.
Well, this sounds almost too good to be true.
It does, but it is true. When there's going to be excess wind and solar energy on the grid, EV drivers will be sent a notification 24 hours in advance telling them about an upcoming 4-hour window or a flash window when they will be able to charge for free.
Right, because the duck curve means that there's a time during the day when solar, for instance, produces more power than the grid can use, and the cars can act like batteries.
Right, because they are essentially mobile batteries. The summer flash period will run from April to September between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m., and the winter flash period will run from October to March between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. That's when the wind is blowing hard. Good Energy CEO Juliet Davenport says, Britain generates so much renewable electricity, it only makes sense for us all to take advantage of this free resource. The new flash tariff will offer people the chance to benefit from free green power when the wind and sun are strongest. Electric vehicle drivers are already doing their bit for the climate. Here's a chance for them to go one step further and support a truly clean energy grid.
If you'd like more info, we'll post a link down below in the show notes with a link to a Good Energy Zap Flash page where you can register.
All right, it's time for Sunspots. Isn't it great to report on all these coal power plants that are going bye-bye?
The state of Minnesota's largest utility, Xcel Energy, has announced that they will be closing 3 coal power plants in Becker, Minnesota, and replacing them with the 460 megawatt Sherco solar farm.
This will become the largest solar farm in the state, and this will create 900 union jobs and power 100,000 households.
The solar farm will come online in 2024, just as the first coal plants shut down.
The third and final plant will close in 2030. Now, here's where you come in, Minnesotans. Xcel also plans to build a 750 megawatt gas-fired power plant in the middle of this decade, but they've gotten a lot of pushback from environmental and clean power groups. So, you need to get on the phone and the emails and the social medias, and you need to voice your opinion. We need more solar, wind, and batteries, not fossil fuel burning power, because this is your state. You can control how it's powered. And if you want to power your house with clean solar energy, the folks at EnergyPal can help you, because there's a lot of questions I'm sure you guys have. Everything's changing all the time. It's a moving target, right? What's the best deal for me? What's the best company? The team at EnergyPal are solar and battery experts that help homeowners go solar for less.
Please use our link in the show notes down below. It's very important that you use it, and just let them know that Zach and Jesse sent you.
All right, it's time for our video contributor stories. These are the stories that you send in and tell us about something that's going on in your neck of the woods. Who do we got this week, Jess?
We have our buddy Joel, and he actually has a request from everybody.
Hey, Zach and Jesse, this is Joel Trapchick, and I'm the chief of police for the village of Somerset, which is located on the Wisconsin-Minnesota border. Our village has a small town charm, and most of our community members know our officers by their first names. Our town is best known for camping and tubing along the Upper River, large concerts, and more recently, a popular Christmas light display. I'm an EV enthusiast and an early adopter. I've owned a Nissan Leaf, Chevy Volt, and currently own a 2018 Tesla Model 3. I've driven a Chevy Bolt, Tesla Model S, a Tesla Model Y, among other EVs and hybrids. I'm looking for support from the EV community to help me raise money and awareness for EVs for patrol. There are a number of cost-effective and viable EV options for municipalities throughout the U.S., and I'd like to bring them into the forefront. I'm not one to typically endeavor into fundraising campaigns. After all, we all pay taxes, and the expectation is that our money is spent wisely. An EV for patrol was not originally budgeted into our 5-year plan, and I'm looking to raise enough money to, at minimum, offset the initial cost of the purchase for the EV versus the cost of a traditional ICE squad car. I've created a Facebook page titled EVs for PDs, which I'll use to post information along the way to help educate and demystify EVs for the law enforcement community. If this comes to fruition, my goal would be to pair an EV with a rooftop solar array and put together a blueprint with real-world numbers for you to share with your local municipalities. This is in no way intended to be political. There is a lot of skepticism surrounding the feasibility of an EV for patrol use, and I'm looking for your help to silence the naysayers. Donations are being accepted via the following links: I will personally match up to a total of $2,500 of cumulative donations. Thank you for your consideration, and please see the attached GoFundMe link or Facebook page for more information.
So let's help support Joel at the Somerset Police Department to get a Tesla for their department.
Nice.
How often is it that you have a chief of police who has driven a Volt, a Leaf, and a Tesla? Just name me one other police chief who has done that, because I want to also talk to that person as well. Joel was so nice in reaching out to us and putting together this awesome video. Yeah, we have 3 links down below of how you can support the Somerset Police Department get a Tesla.
That's so awesome. And I think this is really going to resonate with other police officers who watch our show. I think we should make this into a video clip so that you can share this easily with other police departments.
I mean, he was telling me the other day, one of their hybrid police pursuit vehicles couldn't catch a bad guy.
What do you mean couldn't catch it?
Just couldn't catch a speeding car.
Oh, it wasn't fast enough?
Wasn't fast enough.
I mean, that's something you got to think about, right? I mean, police cars have to go faster than the existing car fleet on the road. And as more and more Teslas are on the road, there can be some bad guys in a Tesla. You got to catch them. All right, it's time for our Patreon bonus stories. If you want to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/nowyouknow. I know you hear us talking about every week, but head on over there. There's a lot of cool perks. There's also something you should hear about this week because it's little time is ticking.
I think this week is if you're not watching this on Thursday or sooner, you might even be too late.
Right.
So definitely head over to patreon.com/nowyouknow. And you can sign up for $1 and get access to our Patreon bonus stories. And there you might hear a little bit more about what we're talking about.
See you there. All right, we are back from our Patreon bonus stories. It's time for the shout outs. These are people that support us at $5 or more a month, and they make the show possible. Who do we have, Jess?
We have Nate Peach,
Kit Stowell,
Drigoy Dinev,
Gene Volts,
Dave Kellertus,
Petteri Sepinen,
David Frank,
David Casas,
Jan Z,
Justin McCabe,
Cameron Bird,
John Schrappa,
Sebastian Roeder,
Petter,
Joseph Getz,
Josh Luftig,
Gene,
Andrew Kaler,
Jeff Wingate,
and Dor Abraham.
Thank you so much for supporting this channel. We can't do it without you.
All right, it's time for Elon's tweets of the week. An everyday astronaut said, okay, Tesla mobile service is amazing. When I got my car back from the Tesla certified body shop, the driver's side mirror wasn't working, and there was a super loud whistle from the windshield. Tesla sent a mobile repair guy here. 3 minutes later, everything was fixed. Wizards!
Elon said, Tesla is building up collision repair capability to help address the grief that you went through. But usually, insurance companies make you go through their approved collision repair partners. Tesla Insurance will make it smooth sailing.
An everyday astronaut went on to say, I've always been a huge fan of the Tesla mobile repairs. That should be expanded because it's the best part of Tesla's service by far. Granted, many things can't be done mobile, but those that can are so great for the customer.
Elon said, absolutely. I think that they should just take everything that you can do in a body shop, put it onto a trailer, get the super duper mobile service department.
Okay, harder than you think. Pranay said in the early 90s, Elon worked at a video game company in Palo Alto where he wrote a multitasker for PC in C++, which could basically read video from a CD while running a game at the same time. The name of that video game company was Rocket Science. Fate loves irony.
Elon said, true, ancient times. Had to flip CPU registers explicitly as computer was so slow.
And Elon went on to say,
that was my night job. Day job was working on ruthenium tantalum ultracapacitors at Pinnacle Research. Just in case you were worried that Elon wasn't smart.
Eugene Lee said, wasn't scalable. Glad lithium ion is the way to go. Glad CATL is cobalt free as well.
Elon said, yeah, not scalable. My grad student idea was to try to use advanced chip making equipment to create high energy density capacitors accurate to molecular level.
And Jordan said, haha, rocket science. Speaking of rockets, what year is this photo from?
Elon said that version of Falcon 1 never flew, so must be 2004. The CAD looks so simple. I think we were still using SolidWorks back then.
And then Sir Doge of the Coin tweeted out, Dogecoin growing naturally without his tweets. Andy Weedham said, Elon, here's a fun edge case. My car kept slamming on the brakes in this area with no stop sign. After a few drives, I noticed the billboard.
Elon said, stop in the name of love.
And then SpaceX MR tweeted out this photo of the Starship, and Elon said,
soon it will be real.
And then Elon tweeted out this picture of looking at the moon. Why is that? Oh, that's right, because they got the contract. Lex Fridman said 252 million years ago, nearly all life on Earth came to an end. The Permian-Triassic extinction, aka the Great Dying, killed 90% of species on Earth. Cause is unknown. Theories include volcanoes and meteors. We're lucky.
Elon said one of the many reasons that we need to make life multiplanetary.
Make life multiplanetary!
#Mark.
And then Sadia said, knock, knock, can I come in? And yes, it's a Doge tweet. And then Michael Sheets said, I surveyed over 50 users of SpaceX's Starlink satellite internet over the past few months to get their impressions of the service so far. Here's what they said about pricing, installation speed, reliability, and more. And Elon said, this is accurate. Service uptime, bandwidth, and latency are improving rapidly, probably out of beta this summer.
Ooh,
that's big news.
And then Everyday Astronaut asked, will users always be locked into one location? Or in the future, if a user has the standard Dishy McFlatface, not a new portable one, could you say put it on an RV or tiny home? Or maybe take one you have in Iowa and put it in a studio in Texas?
Elon said, yeah, should be fully mobile later this year, so you can move it anywhere or use it on an RV or truck in motion. We need a few more satellite launches to achieve complete coverage and some key software upgrades. Wait, so the one we have now could be put on a moving vehicle?
Well, I don't know if it would work while it was moving, but at least a mobile vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, so we had a Patreon poll this week, and if you'd like to join in on that poll, it's at the $2 Patreon level. What was the question?
What are your thoughts on the light horse?
Oh, yes. The answer is yes.
All right, so then you would be one of 81 people who said, I want one.
Wait, we're not the number one answer?
The number one answer was that the applications for park rangers and other wildlife industries excite me.
Oh, okay.
Some people were not interested in it at all,
Okay.
which is fine. It's definitely not for everyone.
Nope.
But yeah, totally a lot of different applications that people were excited for.
Yeah, like really spread answers there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to have a lot of uses.
Beach Patrol.
All right, it's time for Community Mail Time. Andrew reached out to us to spread the word. He said, hi, I recently switched to 100% renewable energy through our power utility, Silicon Valley Clean Energy, via PG&E. It costs us about $12 more per month, and we can now power and drive our 3 EVs with a clean conscience. We rent, and we can't put solar on our house. I'm spreading this idea by leaving business card-sized info notes on people's EVs with the suggestion that people check out their utility to see if they can change their plan to one that uses only renewable power sources. Most reactions I get are along the lines of, I hadn't thought about that. Good idea. It'd be great if you could spread the idea by mentioning it on the show. So yes, you should check that out. A lot of utilities now are offering this.
I get, I believe it's 99% wind, 1% solar, and I pay a little bit more every month. But then when people go, yeah, but the grid isn't like 100% renewable, I go, actually, I pay for 100% renewable. And that usually shuts them up. Ruben shared us this image, and I want you to guess what year this photo was taken in. Put the guess in your mind. Say it out loud. What guess was that?
Are these electric cars charging?
Those are electric cars charging in the year, guess the year? 1907.
What?
Yes, over 100 years ago. Look at that Supercharger station. I'd love to see a Supercharger review.
Thank you,
to
Ruben.
whoever took that picture. I know that you're probably dead, but I really do appreciate it.
Our friend Daryl wants to remind everyone to head over to driveelectricweek.org to get ready for National Drive Electric Week, which will be September 25th through October 3rd of this year. Now, I know it's a few months off, but you can get ready to volunteer, attend an event, or become a sponsor. All right, it's time for our Supercharger reviews, and these are sponsored by our friends at Evannex, the Tesla community's accessory store. If you're looking for awesome accessories for your Tesla, check out Evannex and use our discount code NowYouKnow to save you $10 on purchases over $100.
Hi, Zach and Jesse. This is Clark with the EV Romani channel here in Switzerland. I'm at the Affoltern Supercharger. You might recognize this building because it's also visible in the Obfelden Supercharger, which is on the other side of the freeway. So this is a rest stop, which is called bizarrely my stop, but anyway, this is a 12-stall V3 supercharger. So we have 10 stalls on one side, and then there are 2 more on the other side here. You have to pull in front first, but this is not uncommon in Switzerland to have to park like that. One thing that's particular here is that it's accessible only in one direction. Here it's the direction Zurich, and the other one is direction Lucerne. This is the only place in Switzerland where you cannot access a supercharger from both directions. In the building you have everything you find at rest stops, so there are restaurants, but right now it's closed because of COVID, shops, toilets, everything, so not a big problem here. There's also a charger somewhere there, not a Tesla charger, just a 50 kilowatt charger from Plug and Roll, another Swiss operator. And yeah, it's just a good location. I've never seen it more busy than this. 2 people is the most busy I've seen it. I've been here 2 times. But I think it's a good location on the freeway, but it's not far from the other supercharger in Switzerland, so you have a lot of choice. The fact it's a V3 is it's a good thing because it's the first V3 on the Swiss German side. With older Model S, if you don't have the CCS retrofit, then you cannot charge here at all because there are no V2 stalls. So this is a downside for people who have the old Model S and have not done the retrofit. But here I have the retrofit on this one, so I can charge. So all good, and yeah, very good location, lots of stalls. So I give it a 10 out of 10. Now you know.
Hello, Jack and Jesse. Here is a 12-stall supercharger with on it my new Tesla Model Y charging for the first time. Near to this charging station is a big building with a good and clean toilet. To enter the supercharger, you have to scan the code at each stall, and then on your telephone you get an app that opens, and in it you have to enter a code, and that code is given in the Tesla screen, and then that blocking goes down and you can put your car to charge. Now you know.
Hey Zach and Jesse, it's Richard at the Chillicothe, Ohio 8-stall 250 kilowatt supercharger. Charging Model Y today. We are between Dayton and Athens, Ohio. It's a nice supercharger. We got a few restaurants here, BW3s, Taco Bell, Arby's, shopping plaza. Everything's a little bit of a walk, but it's not too bad. I'd probably give this about a 7 out of 10 for amenities, but not too bad, all things considered. So now you know.
Hey world, hey Zach and Jesse. I am coming to you from the Fort Stockton, Texas supercharger where there are 8 stalls, version 3 superchargers, up to 120 kilowatts. This supercharger is located at a Flying J gas station, which is also a travel plaza. There's Subway, there's Cinnabon, and there's probably very clean restrooms, which I totally love. It is located off of the I-10 north of Fort Stockton. As you can see, there's only one Tesla charging right now. That's nice that it's open. Windy, whew. With restrooms inside and 2 different sources of food, and right off of Interstate 10, I-10 in Fort Stockton, Texas. I'd give this a 9 out of 10. Now you know.
Man, I love supercharger reviews. It's, I mean, the one place in the whole of the internet where you can actually see what the supercharger is going to look like when you get there.
Yeah.
There's
and
hardly any other way to do it.
if you're like, well, I have to keep coming back to your show every week and watching your news. No, you can go over to our Now You Know channel map where you can either put in your own supercharger review or look at all the ones that are there. Just look for the little green check mark. That means that there's a review.
So that's nowyouknowchannel.com.
All right, it's time for new superchargers in the world. What do we got?
We got the 16-stall version 3 in Dardilly, France.
We got the 4-stall 150 kilowatt in Yea, Victoria, Australia.
Yeah! We got the 4-stall 150 kilowatt in Temple Mall North, Hong Kong.
We got the second supercharger in Romania, the 6-stall 250 kilowatt in Timisoara, Romania.
The 4-stall 150 kilowatt in Loc Phu Market in Hong Kong.
Got number 12 in New Zealand and number 2,696 in the world, the 6-stall 150 kilowatt in Wellington, New Zealand. All right, it is time for the Patreon giveaway. And if you would like to get yourself in this big barrel of fun so that you can win a $30 gift card to EcoWare, then you'll want to support us on Patreon. The more you support us, the more often you have a chance of winning. Who is our winner this week?
The winner is William White.
Congratulations,
William. And you're going back in the barrel because you still have a chance to win.
Nice. Yeah, you're going to get the chance to pick up something on EcoWare now. It's designed with solar energy. It's completely offset. And when you buy a tea, well, now we plant 5 trees.
5 trees.
Wow.
And we have already carbon offset your order. So it is really carbon negative.
Yeah. And I just want to mention that we had talked about something last week that you should go do if you're a Patreon, or even if you're not and you want to go check it out. I can't really say what it is because it's only for our Now You Know Investor Club members. A lot of them know about it. If you are an Investor Club member and you don't know what we're talking about, then you haven't gotten the news. And the news is on Patreon. So go over to Patreon. There's a story there. I think it should be the number 1 thing.
If it's not there, you're too late.
Oh, that's right. Because this week we might be taking it down.
Right.
Right.
You got to hurry up.
Right. Because it's one of those things we want to talk about with you guys, but we can only talk about it with certain people.
And in order to notify you, we just kind of have to, we've done everything we can.
Right.
Because, some of our patrons haven't heard about it yet.
I know.
So make sure that you hit the subscribe button, because that's the one. Well, you have to hit the subscribe button. Then you click on the bell icon.
Oh, YouTube.
And you have to say all. And then you will get. Then you will see the videos that we produce
like a
for you
test.
every week. Yeah, it's like a how much do you care test.
Yeah.
Because otherwise YouTube will just show you the videos when they think that you'll want to see them. And, maybe you don't want to see them. So you don't have to do the thing that I just said to do, but I would really encourage you to subscribe. And I want to thank everyone who is scrolling by here. These are the people who support us every week. That's the reason why this was episode 241.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have made it to 241 if it wasn't for people supporting this show. We would have run out of money by then and living under a bridge. So thank you to those people.
We're living under a bridge?
Tesla Time News does not make money without the support of the people who make it possible. So head over to Patreon and help support this show. We try and make it as awesome as possible for everyone who helps support the show. We have bonus stories. We have live streams. We have book clubs.
I'm amazed when we put out the show this week. We were so busy. Like, this has been a crazy week.
Yeah, and we're not done.
It feels like it's been a month.
It does feel like it's been a month. And that's, sometimes we are doing the news and we're like, that happened a month ago. And we're like, that happened on when?
Wednesday.
Tuesday? What? So thank you so much for watching. It really is the only reason we put out the show is for people to watch it. So thanks for doing the thing that we wanted you to do. We will see you next week as we always do.
Now you know.